Hi, it's Matt with Trout Soup. All for trout and trout for all. Today's adventure, we're heading back to Cheeseman Canyon, and quite possibly the hardest place on planet Earth to catch a trout. Over the last 15 years or so, the Cheeseman Canyon section of the South Platte River has been the host of the U.S. National Youth Fly Fishing Championships, as well as a couple of regional U.S. Open Fly Fishing Championships. When they say it's difficult, it's difficult. These fly fishermen in these competitive situations are some of the very best that our country and even the world has to offer. In the last U.S. Youth Fly Fishing Championships held here in Cheeseman Canyon, you know what the average number of fish caught was for a 3-hour session? Less than 2. So if you're going to be walking into Cheeseman Canyon like we are today, on a bright, beautiful, sunny day, enjoy the views. The splendor of the canyon, its large boulders, are wonderful to take in. Make sure you have plenty of water, bring a portable stove, possibly for coffee or soup, and enjoy yourself. Back in '91, I was still a teenager here in Colorado, going to college, and I had questions about nymphing. So, back then, I asked 2 of my old-time friends in those days, Bob Janich and Russ Thompson, how to nymph properly, and they both told me the only way to do this is to tie in a couple of nymphs and use no sight indicator and no weight. This is the only way that you'll be able to improve. Both Bob and Russ were in their mid to late 50s back in '91, so I respected their opinions. Both Russ and Bob's opinions share in accordance with the rules of competitive fly fishing. In competitive fly fishing, you are not allowed to use sight indicators, strike indicators, or weight. The flies themselves are weighted, or sighters are used in line. And so this is the way I've learned how to nymph. And this is the way that we are going to be nymphing today. A couple of nymphs that I tied, weighted, down to the bottom. This is the Blitz Pool, about 1.25 miles up from the trailhead where you first drop into the canyon. And I've spotted some large rainbow trout. I'll be targeting just the large fish today.
Unto my simple house and ring.
I've set up the camera about 25 feet away on a large boulder which I'm hiding behind so that you can watch this frame. This is a great piece of water. That large fish in the center of the screen, you can see him kind of drifting in and out. It's just a shadow. He's about 3.5 feet down, and he's quite large. We're gonna go after him, see if we can get a bite. If you're targeting large fish, especially rainbows, or even brown trout, in many of these tailwaters, the bigger fish will always have the best holding spots. So in this run, you can see this large one here in the middle of the screen. There's actually one at the left-hand side of this screen, just below that large rock in the center, kind of up high. There's one down there too, and he's probably about 22, maybe 23 inches long. But this one here in the middle is significantly larger, and so this is the one that we're after. Once you've found the fish that you're after, you're ready to sight fish for that guy. That can be some of the most fun. I enjoy it a lot, sight fishing for large fish. Just remember, 90% of your approach here is going to be in being stealthy. I spent about 10 minutes getting myself into position behind that big boulder you see on the right-hand side of your screen, sandwiched in between there and the bank, so that they wouldn't see me and I wouldn't spook them away.
Now I'm covered up in straw belly up on the table, and I drank and sang and passed in the stable.
This type of fishing is often referred to as tightlining. I'm fishing more by feel here, where I'm feeling sort of my nymphs as they move along, keeping a peripheral vision or a view on my line as it's drifting by them, and watching the fish, whether they move slightly or open their mouth, and just squeezing the rod handle to lift the rod tip up. And that way we won't miss a strike.
That tall grass grows high and brown. Well, I drag you straight in the muddy ground, and you send me back to where I roam. Well, I cursed and I cried, but now I know. Oh, now I know.
Here, it's time to be honest and critical. I've made some mistakes already in this sequence. First, you can see my line drifting just past the tail end of the fish, and yet I knew pretty well that my line went tight, and you could even see it when I pulled up. His mouth opened. From 25 feet away, you could see his mouth opening, and then he just darted. Now, rather than me being so nonchalant and slow and in my stealth mode, I should have jumped up, run right into the frame, not worried about the camera, and just fought the fish. Guess my skills are a little bit rusty. It's times like these when you lose a really large fish that you start thinking, not to be upset, but to be thankful. Thankful to Joe Humphreys for teaching us how to nymph in this way, to be one of the first to do it. But mostly, thankful to my parents. My dad, my mom, both great dry fly fishermen in their own rights. Now it's time to head back around the bend on the northeastern side of the slope here, where it's cold and wintry, back down to the canyon past the Jamboree hole. We're gonna go fish a little bend that I know that has some nice, large fish. Keep in mind when you're fishing these really difficult tailwaters that many of the larger fish don't need protection from big rocks, structure, and boulders. They just need to be near it, which means that these larger fish can sometimes be right next to the edges. Remember, edges are not just the edge of the river itself. Edges can be seams out in the middle. Edges can be off of rocks, next to a ripple, or any kind of fallen structure in the water, tree, shadow, color change. Edges are everywhere. Look for them, as they are the majority of trout holding water. This edge is created by downstream fast current meeting up with large boulders in the middle and fishing the pool behind it. And though we fished it for a solid 5 to 10 minutes, we had no strikes. Light changes here in the canyon come quickly. This is evening time, around 4 o'clock, and the sun has gone behind the canyon walls. And so I wandered downstream and found a large rainbow trout around the bend, about 2 feet from shore, and he was feeding. Unfortunately, I set my camera up and it wasn't recording. I'm still trying to figure it out. So all we're left with is a nice photo. About a 5-pounder. He's just barely submerged under 3 inches of water, so that'll give you an idea of the size of this fish. And although I'm the last fly fisherman in the canyon and the last one to hike out, let's not forget our little feathered friends. They're still fishing for mayflies. I've had some nice memories from Cheeseman Canyon over the past 25 years.
I've ascribed these monuments a false sense of permanence. I've placed faith in geography to hold you in my memory. I'm sifting through these wreckage piles, through the rubble of bricks and wires, looking for something I'll never find, looking for something I'll never find, digging for coal in my neighborhood.